Well, the objective would be to get the British government to put a fixed time frame on the suspension of the Constitution. What happened in the past was that they had a fixed time frame for 2 years, and it would automatically have expired. They could have extended it if they wanted to, or they could have bring it forward. And that's what they did. They got it extended, but this time they got extended without a fixed time period. So it will remain in force until they decide to bring the Constitution back.
Saunders, in an interview with News 4 Today, he said there was no sense of urgency and that British rule could last for years.
Now, with this open-ended change into the suspension of the Constitution, there will be no sense of urgency. They could wait for a year if they wanted to, and if the funding was in there, instead of pushing for the funding, they could just say, well, let's wait until the next financial year to fund any things that they need to fund to achieve the milestones. And so that's my concern, is that we could be here a year, 2 years, 5 years, maybe even 10 years, just waiting for them to get through the milestones.
This bit of information, according to Saunders, hasn't been published by TCIG.
Those who are now hearing about it are upset, but surprisingly, most people didn't know about it. Most people didn't realize the change was made in December. The change will only come into force when the governor actually publishes it in the Gazette locally. So even though the order in council was approved in Britain, the governor needs to publish it here. And I think most people didn't know because the governor has yet to publish it, even though I'm sure at some point he will. And so people are just finding out about it now. But the few people who have heard about it now, have now since called or emailed me, and they're very upset about it.
He said it's a matter for the British parliamentarians, but he said he believes that Turks and Caicos isn't important to the British MPs.
They have their day jobs, they have their constituencies. And so whenever it's presented to them about the Turks and Caicos, they would just automatically approve it. It's almost like a check in the box. Someone comes and says, we want to suspend it indefinitely, check. You know, without sitting down and listening to the issues, and without sending in this case, the Secretary of State Foreign Affairs for Britain, sending him a message back and saying, no, this is unacceptable. You've been in there already more than a year. What have you achieved so far? When do you expect the other milestones to be achieved? And then giving him that time frame to work with. So in that case, if he had said, well, we need another 2 years, then they could have said, okay, we will give you 2.5 years. But at least he knew that it was fixed.
He said the next step is for anyone with any influence on the British MPs ask Her Majesty's government to revisit this decision. News 4 will continue to follow this story.